Adamantium Shadow Poo!
Hello, welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters Shadow Show. This is a bonus show that we do every other week for our patrons that support us on Patreon. Our main show has gone bi-weekly, but if you support us, you get a show every single week. This is the one that we're doing right now. We're going through the story of Ulysses Bloodstone, first in Marvel Presents, and now we're going to go through his appearances in Rampaging Hulk. I am Jacob Balcom.
I'm Matt Howell.
You guys know that. You know us. You know who we are. So, yeah, I was excited. This is the more that we go into this, Matt, the more you were right yet again with the content choices that you've made for us. Because, yeah, Bloodstone is great. You know, the Marvel Presents stuff, I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's kind of fun. But, yeah, I think I'm going to really dig this Rampaging Hulk black and white stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. And, yeah, I was hoping that I was setting the bar low for you with the Marvel Presents.
It was low. It was.
Because it was,
Yeah.
not uninspired. There's some cool stuff in there, but it was definitely not, the kind of thing we'd read and go like, so why does he care?
Yeah, I was like, no, this is cool. Whatever, it's great. There was cool stuff about it, but it was also like goofy as shit. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, and since this is Shadow Show is just for the family, for the Bamily, is what I call them now. We can tell you guys, because you're in the inner circle, that our friend Michael Giacchino wants to come on and talk a little bit about Ulysses Bloodstone. So we send him the schedule. He's going to pick out an episode and come on. We're going to make that one of the public ones that's shared to everyone. We can't keep a tight lid on Michael. It's not fair to the world.
That's not fair to the world. Is it weird that we've never really had a conversation with him about Ulysses Bloodstone?
It's pretty weird because
we haven't.
Yeah, when we met and we're talking about Werewolf by Night and stuff like that, like I would kind of mention it, and there'd be this kind of like, yeah, and then it would just like, then another thing would come up, like, oh yeah, and then we did this, and so like we never got to talk about it. So
yeah,
when you mentioned that, like we've never talked to Michael about Ulysses Bloodstone, and he's a huge part of the special, like
a huge part.
How has that not happened?
Yeah,
good call.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, but I was excited. Michael seemed stoked about it, and yeah, so that'll be good. Yeah, he has our schedule, so we'll have something up. I don't know when, September.
Yeah, it sounds like from what his assistant said, it'll be September or early October.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I mean, I know he's busy. He's going to be scoring Fantastic Four, so that's
right.
Was a huge announcement. Good for him.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was pretty cool. I loved that announcement. He did a lot of shit at San Diego Comic-Con.
It was funny because in his social feed, it was like, I'm here at SDCC selling my new record and signing it. I'm like, why would you get a table at San Diego Comic-Con to sell your record? I mean, it's not, he's him, obviously.
It's promotion.
But, yeah. But I mean, like, I was like, that seems like an odd, and like, oh, he's probably doing panels. And I was like,
a lot of panels.
Something to say and share and reveal, because that's a big part of. And then, sure enough, we saw the announcement.
Yeah, well, that made sense. Yeah, if that was just his only thing, yeah, that would be a little confusing. But I know since he was there and he's such a great guy, he's just like, nah, I want to chat with fans. I'll sign records for him and stuff because he's Michael.
Yeah. And yes, that was awesome. And he got to meet Harrison Ford and chat with him for a while. So both of us, through proxy, have now met Harrison Ford secondhand and Paul McCartney. So that's something.
Yeah. Oh no, that's by proxy. I do so many things by proxy.
So
it's just and there's no shame in that.
No, it's it's fine.
It's fine. Ugh. All right. Well, yeah. You want to jump into this?
I am ready to jump into magazine black and white Bloodstone. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, both of you and I were kind of just like, this cover, it's fine. It just doesn't have anything to do with Bloodstone. He's not even mentioned on the cover.
No.
Yeah.
Like a dirty secret.
It is, which I don't understand why, because it's super awesome. But yeah, the cover's by Ken Barr. He's from Glasgow. He did a lot of like war stuff at DC. I think his first American credits in Our Army at War 208. and that was from 69. His first Marvel credits from 75 on a cover of Savage Tales. He did mostly covers at Marvel, specifically like the Curtis magazine that kind of fit his photo kind of realistic style. So he was a good fit for the magazines, not so much for the Marvel comics, though.
Yeah. I can see them saying Earl Norm is busy. What's Ken Barr doing? It's a compliment.
It is a compliment. I'll take second to that guy any day. But and this is the first issue of Rampaging Hulk. So that's Yeah.
Have you ever read these? We talked about this before a little bit, haven't we?
No, I haven't read any of them.
That continuity-wise, this takes place between his short-lived original series and when he
TV
split a book with Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
So this jumps back canon-wise, continuity-wise, back 10 years, 11 years in like publishing time. So have a weird little niche of the Hulk story. But those are cool. They have nice art too. I haven't actually read them. I've just flipped through them and looked at the art, but I plan to get to them someday.
Yeah. Cool. So talking about the first page, I mean, I was super impressed with the art already. And I was like, wow, I really love this art. Wonder what country this artist is from. And it's a Filipino artist, Rudy Nebres. I had to really look up on how to pronounce that. And it's John Warner. And then the art is John Buscema and Rudy Nebres. So Rudy started out at DC like everybody from his country did on the horror books. So in 73, he went to work for Tony DeZuniga's Action Art Studio, which I hadn't heard a whole lot about. There's a tiny bit out there, but not a lot. Had you heard of that before?
I see it all the time when I look these guys up on, what is that Wikipedia for Filipino artists called? Lambic?
Lambic Comic Encyclopedia has the most stuff about these guys. But trying to find out what it was a little bit of a dig.
I've never found it. So if you know, please tell me.
Yeah, so it was a bunch of Filipino artists that just did ink. It was like an inking collective.
Okay.
And it was Action Art Studios, but the artists that did it, they inked under the collective name The Tribe. Okay, and it seems like all sorts of, so the big ones I think was DeZuniga started it and Alfredo Alcala. And then it's a bunch of guys that you haven't heard hardly anything of.
Okay, those are the two names I associate with the collective,
Yeah, they're the big ones. And the rest of them are just like really cool, but not anyone that even I had really heard of. But it's cool. So it was just like, it was a little mini house. It's a little mini studio that just did inking. They just did contract inking.
Did they do, was it like Krusty Bunkers where it was like a collective effort to all chip in? So sometimes you would see almost like a jam piece on like a splash.
I don't think, no, I think it was more like continuity studios.
Okay. So where Rudy, you take this.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we got this job coming in. They need an inker on Rampaging Hulk. Rudy, you're here. Yeah, why don't you take that? So I don't think they did a lot of like actual like team up.
Okay. Stuff. It was just an inking house. It was like a service.
It was an inking house. Yeah. That they could that different comic companies could contract with.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really, it was neat. Man, it took some digging to figure out what the hell that was. Which is such a bummer. As we say 1,000 times, there should be way more easily accessible stuff about all these Filipino artists.
Yeah.
But Rudy worked on magazines mostly. He did a lot of Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, Rampaging Hulk. The comics he did, he worked on John Carter, Warlord of Mars. Mm-hmm. But he worked on Doctor Strange just as an inker. Mm. So, again, they don't seem to give the Filipinos main full penciling work on any of the superhero books. But
Strange seems like that butting up against horror where it seemed like you could almost get away with,
He almost could. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of them have. I don't know everything, and I haven't exactly studied all these guys, all their credits, but I haven't found a ton. Tony DeZuniga inked a couple of X-Men comics.
Yeah, I think we showed those in something, right?
I remember the one that I think the first one he did was one of the famous ones where they're playing softball.
Yeah, we showed that in one of our.
I think we did. I can't remember exactly what, but Yeah. So after that, he went to Warren. He worked at Pacific and Continuity. And yeah, his inks are really unique. So you can kind of see John Buscema in there, but I would be shocked if Buscema did full on pencils for this.
Yeah. So I know that his brother Sal does penciling with Rudy on inks on an upcoming issue. It looks like Rudy. It looks like it's Rudy isn't driving this thing, and they're just doing layouts. Honestly, to me,
I don't see any Buscema in this. I mean, yeah, maybe layouts, maybe just rough stuff, but yeah, this looks like a Filipino through and through.
Yeah, there's some of the faces of Ulysses in repose, like when he's listening to someone talk or something like that. You can see Conan in it. You can see John Buscema's Conan, but for the most part, this Rudy is driving this.
Yeah. Oh, which I'm extremely thrilled about because he is, he's super great. So, for this, we're going to do our normal, just kind of, going through this, but we do have a new masthead. So I thought I would read that. I think that's pretty important. So,
it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years since Marvel Presents.
Yeah.
Because we're in 77 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My birth year. What month did this come out?
I can't even relate to it anymore.
Yeah. I know, right?
I'm Star Wars. You're Empire Strikes Back.
Drink for the Mr. Show reference.
I was raised at a time when people respected each other. The mid-'70s. You came of age at a different time, the late 70s. We're from different generations. So, I don't get your movies or your music, I was into Star Wars. You were into The Empire Strikes Back, I like Bananarama. You like that Bengals shit. Oh, hey, lay off, Pops!
I'm sorry, what were we saying?
All right, I'm going to read the masthead. So,
okay.
Yeah, first above, it says Stan Lee presents Bloodstone. It says the blood gem, a strange jewel out of time and space which held the key to all the mysteries of the multiverse. 10,000 years ago, it shattered. Its uncountable fragments spread across Earth. Ulysses Bloodstone, he was there in humanity's infancy when the gem shattered. One of those fragments lodged in his chest, giving him power enough to conquer life and death. Now Bloodstone hunts the other fragments in all corners of the globe to keep them out of the hands of agents of chaos who would use them to unleash ... Armageddon. So, okay, we know the stakes now.
And I wasn't ever sure when I read this, like, Agents of Chaos is a generalized, like, it's just like bad, evil actors, right? It's not like TM.
No, and I think it's a little confusing, but also other things are capitalized, like life and death.
Yeah.
And, and so but yeah, I had to go back and look at that too. I was just like, wait, what?
Because we get dudes in Hydra-E suits, so I was like, are these actually Agents of Chaos, like an acronym or something? But they're not, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So yeah, this opening page is amazing. So it's like, we see Ulysses looking as badass as anyone ever has. We kind of get a little photo montage here of him fighting against the agents. Just kind of, and then we have an amazing monster at the bottom. Looked way cooler than any other monster we saw last 2 issues.
Yeah, and you recognize, right, that this is the thing that I love, which is the Rockford. Yeah, what are you doing? Exactly. You gotta get me out of here. I need bail money.
Yep. I love it. I know, it's so good. I wish it was used more.
I love getting the snippets of what I'm about to watch.
Yeah. No, it's so great.
Absolutely orgasmic art.
Yeah, it's crazy good.
And that monster, man, the way this kaiju thing is drawn, Gorham, through this thing is just a feast for the eyes. So we made a point before we start recording here, like, let's not just get hung up masturbating over the art in every panel. Let's just kind of do a nice clip here since you guys are getting to see it. So we're just going to move through. Okay, so on the next page, it's the prologue. And we're in Rio de Janeiro. It's customs, and these guys are checking, these custom agents are checking this metal briefcase, and they see a giant, beautiful, I'm assuming, this is black and white, red glimmering hunk of stone. Luis Madre Dios, look at the size of this ruby. No such gem was declared. And then off panel, nor shall it be. though not for reasons you might suspect. Not that it matters. And these guys come in. They look like like I was saying, kind of like Hydra-ish. Like they have cowls on, or they almost look like, remember that video game Rolling Thunder? Did you ever play that video game? God, I love that game.
Loved that.
They look almost like those guys, but less clannish, like Ku Klux Klanish.
Man, they took so many of my quarters.
I know.
As a kid.
Fucking love that game.
So much money.
So they're saying, they surprise these agents. They shoot them, say it won't matter anymore, not ever, chaka chaka, which I'm assuming is like silence, like, choo, choo.
Yeah.
So they kill these dudes, and then 20 minutes later, the case comes out on the loading docks. They're loading stuff up, and then you see at the last panel, 3 guys that look like Lou Reed in 1966 with giant Velvet Underground glasses on. And they're all watching like the case like moving onto the boat. Like, and one guy thinks, we did well. The master will be pleased. And then another one says, will he still come? And first guy says, count on it.
Yeah, those guys look very hip and proto new wave, and very suspicious.
Everybody dressed like Banachek, so you don't draw any attention. Yep. I do love their look, like on that 4th panel. Like I love that, like John and Rudy like give these guys like heft, like they actually have weight. They don't look like all just
they do.
Wiry like little dudes. Like these guys look like brawlers.
Yeah, they do. No, it's awesome. So yeah, next page, Bloodstone enters. He arrives too late to save the customs officers. And then we switch to a ship, and we see a familiar guy saying, hey, the ship's leaving port. The porter's like, but of course, sir. He says, one of your passengers hasn't arrived, blast it. Porter says, there's no need to shout. We are behind schedule as is. We cannot be expected to hold up the whole voyage for one late tourist. And then in the background, we see Bloodstone just doing a kick-ass leap over the fence. And we see Brad say, it looks like you won't have to either. He's here. Guy's like, I suppose you want us to back the ship up. He's like, I doubt you'll have the chance, my good steward. Which I liked. My employer is rather the impatient type. And yeah, so, okay, so is he using the shock? Okay, let's talk some physics. So he's using his giant sawed-off shotgun to propel him toward the boat. Are we in agreement on that?
So I think we agreed previous episodes that this must be like the equivalent bare minimum of an elephant gun, because he hunts monsters with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a sawed-off shotgun. This thing is like a cannon that he can hold in his hands. So yes, with that modification. So it appears to me that it couldn't be the water. He has to be shooting the dock.
He's shooting the
dock,
and
the recoil from the dock is springing him into the air over the 15 feet between the dock and the leaving ship, right?
Oh, man.
It's absurd.
It's absurd, but I love it.
Oh my God. I loved it. I have to admit though, man, I was looking at this many times thinking like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe not as clear as it should be, because me too. I was just like, okay, all right. 4th time.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I think I know what's going on. I think I know what they're doing. It's just maybe not. I think it's that left panel. I think that left panel, the angle maybe should have been a little different, or the momentum should have been, because I get it on the right panel where he's saying mere moments later, like that. I get what's happening.
Because that's more of like a pogo stick kind of angle. Whereas the one on the left, you're right, where it's almost like he's pointing at the water. And
yeah, he's just shooting the water. And so that's why I'm just like, but minor quibble with the art.
And you and I both love black and white painterly magazine comics art. But I'm going to say that this issue, there's times, particularly in the big climax, where the lack of color, I had a hard time following what was going on with some of the big battle scenes.
Yeah. And I think, that's an art thing. And that might be kind of a Filipino thing in a way. I feel like the hyper detail that they all kind of honed in the comics with a K industry in the Philippines, I don't think it translates as well to black and white.
It gets in the way when when it's black and white, and when also there's a big, huge Kirby scale action battle going on. It's not their milieu or whatever, right?
No,
their
giant
métier.
action like that is not. They're moody. And, I mean, they were a great fit for horror. I think they could be a great fit for superheroes too, but it would have been a different deal.
Yeah. And but like a Moon Knight or a Punisher or something. The big Kirby punching, like Hellboy punching giant demon slugs and stuff. It's not their strength, I think, a lot of times.
I think I have to agree with you. I hate to, give Marvel credit for not putting them on superhero books, but maybe I don't know. Well, it's just the industry. Their industry was so different.
Yeah.
And it was so cool and just kind of existed in this little island's bubble. And they just they weren't influenced by a ton of stuff, or the stuff they just changed so completely that, I mean, their industry is so unique. And but you're right. I don't think it lends itself very well, or it doesn't translate well in black and white and action. Yeah.
And I'm specifically saying like big action, like some of the stuff we're going to see here in the next scene is almost like Golgo 13 or like James Bond. It's fine there. It's just when it's underwater, people punching each other and throwing boulders at each other, like it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Well, anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so next page, chapter 1, Trail of the Starstone. So, Ulysses lands on deck. He's got his badass spur boots on, which I love, which he uses to climb monster hides. That tickles me to no end. He just drops gracefully to the ground, and someone's like, "Geez, we're getting hijacked!" And these guards come up. "Hey, you halt! Stand where you are!" They got guns on him. He's like, "If you'll allow me to explain, the gun, senor, drop it now!" And then Brad comes in. "Hold it, guys! Brad Carter to the rescue! I've got his passport." He's holding it over his head. "Excuse me, bub!" Like elbowing all these, loud American tourists. He's paid passage on this voyage. That first panel, though, of Bloodstone alighting onto the deck is beautiful.
It's so good.
Rudy's fine line work on shading, gorgeous.
Yeah, and just the kind of, you're right. It's an angular kind of musculature and stuff. It is very much Golgo 13 for sure. I love the title. I love a Trail of the Starstone. So I love it. On the next page, it's Brad whispers, "Hey, you wouldn't begrudge someone trying to catch their boat, would you guys?" And he says whispers to Bloodstone, he's like, "Do you have to be so damn flamboyant?" And forget it. And Bloodstone doesn't even reply. He's just like, "Huh? What?" And then it says it's like his passport's in order, including a special permit to carry the gun. And then we see the goons. They're just like, "That's him. That's him." He says, "We take him now?" He's like, "No, tonight. Even the great hunter sleeps." And then on the next panel, we're introduced to a new character. It says, "And as 3 watch Bloodstone, yet another watches them." It's a woman who is thinking, "Samantha, my love, you don't even need your old reliable intuition to tell that those 3 men are suspicious. Goons with a capital G." And then there's this beautiful shot of her taking a photo. It's like click, tick, tick. And she says, "And maybe there's something in it for you." And I mean, we love photographers in comics. I mean, I don't know. Peter Parker being a photographer never gets old.
Nope.
It's just one of the coolest things. It may be the coolest thing about the character, honestly. And and there is a tradition of female photographers in comics. There's a golden age character called Gail Porter, girl photographer, which I love. And I think I first ran into her through finding like werewolf pics to post on Instagram for our Werewolf Wednesdays for the very first season. And there was one of her, fighting with a werewolf. And I think the werewolf is dressed in a suit, if I'm correct. Yeah, which I loved. And I had forgotten all about that. We ended up on like the Universal Monsters channel on Roku. I think it was last night or the night before. They played Werewolf of London. And Alicia had never seen it. And so we watched it, and I'm just like, God damn it. It entertains me so much that he's just in a coat and a hat and hiding himself in his coat. He's just fully dressed werewolf. So great.
Doesn't have time.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have time. Final panel, yeah, night settles uneasily over the vessel, but then the revelers slowly drift out onto the decks into their staterooms, and all seems silent. Now, that last panel is so goddamn cool. Like, it's just a boat far away, but you got the moon, but it's almost like waves of like ripples of like grain or something that's going across the sky as the moonlight. I was just like, goddamn, like that panel is
like cirrus clouds or something like that.
It is so cool.
Yeah, that photo in the prior panel of her.
Oh, I know.
That's like tattoo worthy.
Yeah, it is. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah, and I love those dudes. Again, like I just kept thinking like it's Lou Reed and John Cale and Sterling Morrison. It's just VU just hanging out, trying not to look like Velvet Underground.
It is.
Okay, so yeah, that's Samantha, and she's gorgeous and amazing, and we love her. So we're moving on. Get a nice sequence here on the next page. So everyone's eaten all their shrimp cocktail. They've gone to the discotheque and made the guy play a bunch of, Rupert Holmes' Pina Colada song a bunch of times until they're so drunk they just have to go pass out in their cabins. And then nightfall, silence, the silence of stealth, furtive figures melting into shadow, passing through light all too quickly. And they open the door into a room, we see a sleeping figure. They come in, they're almost entirely in shadow except for the highlights of the moon on their figures. And then we cut to Ulysses up close saying, someone moving and trying to hide it. And then we cut back to the room. They bitch slap the person in the bed. We see it's Brad Carter. And Ulysses grabs his big ass gun. He's like coming from Brad's room. And then we see one of those three masked men saying, leave him. The master wants Bloodstone. I don't know why they went into Brad's room and knocked him out.
Yeah.
But
all right. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, you're right. I mean, all the shadow on this one, specifically, yeah, that shadow at the on the left bottom panel of it's so cool.
Yeah, and again, I'm never get tired of seeing these guys in their henchman costumes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love it. So the next page, the henchmen are going in there. Easy now. He hasn't even stirred. The master will be pleased. Hit him now! And they all just, fire their machine guns. And they realize, no, it's just an empty bed. And it's fucking awesome. And then, the next panel is Ulysses, and that triangle is just like just burning into his forehead. Had we seen that before? This is new, right?
This is new, yeah. This is also a new design in our shop if anybody wants to buy them. There's Bloodstone merch that is going to be out by the time this episode is released.
Yes.
I did clean this up and do some extra work on it, so this is a design you can get on something.
Awesome. So there's that great panel of him and then the henchman. No, it can't be that sound. Because it's, it's sizzling.
I love that.
Which is just like, fuck. So it just like shows up. It just suddenly gets burned into his forehead when he gets all bloodstony, I guess. And so cool.
I imagine that's like some brain power he has from the stone, and it's like physically manifesting when he's concentrating, and it just appears like glowing like a red, or something crazy.
The bottom panel is pretty funny, and because he's like, gentlemen, the name is Bloodstone, but he's kind of leaping crotch forward a bit.
Okay, this is another panel I found confusing. First of all, I love that it's in the dark and they're showing that by making it kind of a photo negative. Cool fucking touch. But is he, my initial, I can't tell if is this action or is he standing one foot on a bookcase and another foot on a dresser? Like, was he crouched up like a spider up in the room in the dark? And like when his power starts manifesting, like lights coming out. So now they see him like, oh shit. He was just crouched like Hereditary. He was just up there in the fucking corner.
That is exactly what it is. And I didn't understand it until you described it right now.
Okay. Because that's how I read it at first. I was like, wait, is he jumping? But I think he's crouching. I think he's like a spider.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very crotch forward, though. I think I literally thought the exact same words. Like, very crotch forward pose. So this kind of like faux photo negative thing continues in this action panel here on the next page, these 4 panels. So he says, if you'd known that much about me before, you wouldn't have bothered trying to sneak up on me. Like, how can you see in the dark? He doesn't have our eyes. Is he getting punched? There's, 3 guys against him in one room in the dark. He's like, and Ulysses thinks, so that's how they move about so easily in the dark. Their eyes are altered in some way, but they depend on their victims not being able to see. He's grabbing these guys, kicking one in the face, gun goes flying, slams another dude into a dresser, and they seem especially unprepared for my third eye power, which allows me to see people and objects by their auras. He's smashing up a dresser. And then a guy in a very cool kind of Steranko-y Miller Daredevil kind of thing, like these emanating lines radiating out from photo negative. So cool. He's like, you're good and you're fast, Bloodstone, but even you aren't fast enough to cross the stateroom and stop me from doing this, as he pulls a gun up and presumably pulls the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, this page, I mean, each panel, you do have to kind of parse what's going on.
This was another point where I found it a little confusing.
Yeah,
I like the effect.
It's an amazing effect, but yeah, it's confusing as hell to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yep.
So yeah, it even kind of continues that photo negative thing just on this first panel where, Ulysses counters saying like, someday you may learn you don't want publicity in a fight. And if you have to, next panel, make sure you can live up to it. And just basically uses his monster gun to just blow this guy. It looks like he blows like part of the hull of the ship apart.
He does.
So, I mean, I'm just assuming that guy's guts are just mangled SpaghettiOs, basically, at this point. It's like, oh, Jesus. All right. Black and white mag. Here we go. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, so funny. And so, yeah, but we realized, he's saying, one of it was the porter. He's like, Lord, I should have known it would be you. I'll take over now if there's anything left to take over. This is like, you'll find them unharmed if a little bruised. And there's a man overboard. There's pieces of a man overboard. I think he's gone.
Chunk.
He's like, yeah, they're all yours. And he thinks, besides, I found out what I needed when I unmasked them. They aren't agents for Ulysses, which means my current investigation is on the right track. And I love that. I love that, just that little reveal to where you think it's all these are the big bad guys. And he's like, no, these guys are jackasses. like these guys aren't a threat at all. And then he says, the porter's like, okay, you two, let's move, as he's taking the goons into custody.
So timid now, aren't they? Without their guns.
Without their guns. And I thought that was great. But yeah, that panel of him getting blown out of the ship was just awesome.
That was amazing. And I especially love the middle bottom panel, that close up of Ulysses with the bloodstone in his chest. He just looks cool.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so on the next page, Jacob, we have a rule we'd almost forgotten. But when there's a scrying pool type of device.
Yes. Oh my God.
So we have one here, so I'm having a drink.
Yep. What are you having again?
I'm having Breakside Wanderlust IPA.
Oh, it's a fancy IPA. I'm having Cosmic Creatures.
I really want to try that now.
IPA. Yeah, it's good. It was a limited release, probably like, I don't know. I got it at a grocery outlet, so it was probably a limited release like last year or something.
Yeah,
but
like last summer.
No, it wasn't. No, because I looked and it was only bottled in like April. So I don't understand. I don't understand.
It's been a spring release then.
I guess. I don't know why this is so cheap and it's so good. Like I'm just like, oh, there's actually nothing wrong with it. So
yeah.
Sometimes grocery outlet for the win.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can scare some up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see the ocean liner from the previous the page before last, or whatever, a couple pages ago. Same kind of image, and we see it in a giant gemstone reflecting. So it's like a TV or like the Wicked Witch of the West's crystal ball, and it's gliding across a blood red stone from somewhere very far away. We hear, I have been wondering the whys of Bloodstone's movements lately. Now I find him on this vessel following another star gem fragment, and he is attacked by forces not my own. But who then? For the moment I must bide and watch most carefully, and you see the silhouette is an octopoid head on a bipedal body. You know who that is.
Yep.
And then we cut back to the ship, and Ulysses is checking up on Brad, and he's got his head in like Samantha's lap. He's like, Brad, are you all right? He's like, hey, boss. Yeah, I'm fine. Those creeps put a kink in my Oscar-winning neck, but I found me a real good masseuse. And Samantha's giving him like a scalp massage. And so then she immediately probably drops Brad's head on the bed, grabs her camera, so taking photos of Ulysses. So you are the ever elusive Ulysses Bloodstone. Hold on a moment. And he's like got his arms folded. I love that where he looks like He-Man.
He's
like,
posing.
what? No pictures, please. She's like,
flexing.
perfect. He's like, Brad, are you going to introduce us? And so Brad hops up. He's like, yeah, this is kind of an old friend of mine. I'm assuming there's like air quotes there. Samantha Eden, freelance photojournalist, and most anything else she puts her mind to. So I already have a crush on her because she goes out, she gets stories, and he said she's basically a Jill of all trades, right?
Yeah.
She's a journalist by trade, but she does whatever she has to get by. I love this chick already.
No, freelance photojournalist is always the best.
Yes.
She's like, she's not held down to any like Herald or anything like that. Yeah. She's her own woman.
There's no JJJ barking at her in the middle of the night.
Nope. She makes her own rules.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
And so Ulysses like, and he just happened to book this voyage too. And it's like, just happened, my foot. I picked up your trail in Sao Paulo. Your news. We get this great panel of her, like another close-up detail of this young beauty. She says, and then I noticed the goons keep tabs on you. I was coming up here to warn you when I found Brad. So she was not only a photojournalist, but she was also a responsible citizen who was saying, I noticed that some junky art rock musicians were watching you on the deck, and I wanted you to know in case they wanted to come in and, I don't know, Andy Warhol you in the middle of the night. We don't know. We don't know.
You're so right. And it's white light, white heat era.
It
too.
Is.
Like, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
all the needles are buried in the red for the entire track. that era of Velvet Underground.
Oh, Sister Ray said.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. So next page, this is our shadowed friend who's saying, but wait, what is this? I sense stirring the water in front of the ship. No, it can't be. And then a amazing looking monster rises from the deep saying, I am Gorum. I am your master. And we've reached chapter 2, Siege of the Starstone. And yeah, that middle panel is so cool. Man. Yeah, he's just kaijuing out of the fucking waters. It's so cool. And yeah, bottom panel, like everyone's just freaking the fuck out, as they should. Because it looks like that. I mean, with that, the boat should just be tipping over.
Oh, yeah.
Capsized. At this point. They should totally be capsized at this point. But everyone's like, my God. And one guy says, everybody out of the pool.
That made me roll. I'm not going to lie. I fucking laughed.
Oh, and he thinks he's a hero, too, for saying that.
Like you've heard, like, arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, right? Like, this guy's even more banal and minor.
Yeah, no, I laughed my ass off about that. And then when I read it for the second time, all I could hear was the classic Adult Swim announcer.
Oh yeah,
God! Everybody out of the pool, open swim. But yeah, and then we get a nice little porthole of Ulysses saying, "There are other forces at work here. That creature is not one of Uluxel's." So yeah, great opening. Everybody out of the pool.
God, that's the funniest thing. Get out of the pool and drown in the ocean, quick!
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, that guy was kind of my hero for this issue.
The design of Gorum and the execution on him, just, I mean, we got tired in, like, the Living Colossus stuff and, like, even the Marvel Presents stuff of just, like, these kind of stock Atlas-era Ditko Kirby monsters. Yeah. And this takes us to an entirely new kind of grotesque, like Skywaldian level where these look creepy and scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this horribly like bumped, ridged, crazy, just, I don't know. He looks like some crazy tumor or something.
Yes, totally. Like a cluster of tumorous growth or something.
Yeah.
Cancerous cells. And also kind of like, I might be saying this wrong, just put it out there now, but like in the original Super Mario Brothers movie, I'm pretty sure Dennis Hopper is King Koopa or whatever the name of the villain is. I think when he reveals himself, he looks basically like this when his like human skin comes off. I think he looks like that.
You're talking like the Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
I need to rewatch that.
Or whoever it was. Yeah.
I need to rewatch that.
Have you seen it?
I have a long time ago.
Is it enjoyably bad?
I don't remember. I remember seeing it like 20 years ago, knowing that it was terrible. Like already it was. Because when did that come out?
90?
It come out in like late 80s or like 90, 91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like Howard the Duck, Garbage Pail Kids, the movie, Masters of the Universe, and like that are all like this cluster of like, should I watch these again? Or for the first time? Like, are they actually good bad? Or are they just like expensive bad?
I'm a bit of an apologist for Howard the Duck. I'm not going to lie.
I've never seen it since the theater, literally.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater too. And I think, I don't know, when did that come? I don't know. How old were we?
86?
So I'm 9. You're 11.
I'm 10. Or
like, yeah.
Depending on when it came out, I was
yes
10 or 11.
Yeah. And so I loved it in the theater. I thought it was awesome. I thought
it was a mess. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is from Marvel Comics. This is supposed to be a superhero movie. I didn't know what I was supposed to be seeing, but I knew I didn't like what I was seeing. So
my cousin Eric, he was a big Howard the Duck fan, like before the movie came out. I don't know how. Like, just a guy who grew up in Damascus. I don't know if he just got like the issues from, I don't know, the corner store next to Sergeant Gator's. If you remember that U.S. Army supply like surplus store, there was one called Sergeant Gator's.
Yeah,
and there was a little like place with a spinner rack next to that. I don't know. Eric just really like latched on to Howard the Duck, and so and he was my cousin who was kind of like a brother, and he was, I don't know, he's maybe 3 or 4 years older than me, so he was just my idol, and so he liked Howard the Duck, so I loved anything Howard the Duck.
Okay.
And so when that movie came out, I went to see it with my cousins, and I loved it.
Did they like it? Did he like it as a Howard the Duck fan?
I think so. I don't really know. I don't really remember what their reactions were. And yeah, I know it's not. I know it's a mess. I know it's a disaster. But I'm a slave to nostalgia on this one. I'm just like, I liked it.
That's a very reasonable explanation for the nostalgia, though.
I think so.
Like, I'm wondering if is it. I've never read about it much. Like, is it in your memory? Is it like something where it's like the studio got involved and started like making all these calls and like it got ruined? Like, is there a director's cut that's good? Like the Doc Savage movie?
I know. I don't remember. I read. I have an issue of something. Either it's like I don't know. Maybe it's DAK's magazine they did. I don't know if it's Comics Interview or something. But they did a whole like Howard the Duck kind of special about the making of the movie, and I don't think anyone was happy. But no, I don't remember the specifics of it. It's in a long box somewhere.
Howard the Duck I slot very closely to Buckaroo Banzai: Across the Eighth Dimension as like a film that they were trying to make a cult classic, and they tried so hard that it doesn't work for me. Yeah. Like it's just got try hard effort all over it. So
you're not a Buckaroo Banzai guy.
I want to like it a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
So I'll come back to it every like 4 or 5 years and like watch it again. I've warmed to it slightly, but it's never not going to feel like they were trying to make a cult classic, a midnight movie on purpose. And not doing it right.
I know. I'm sorry. I have to go on another weird nostalgic tangent. So I remember watching Buckaroo Banzai. I remember renting it from Sandy Mountain Video on Mount Hood. And I had it, and I don't know how old I was. I was pretty young. And my mom was just like, had to go do something. And she was just like, okay, I have to leave you alone. Please don't do anything. Like, I'm going to be gone for like an hour. Can you please just not do anything that's going to destroy everything? And I was like, no problem, Mom. I got this. And so I put on Buckaroo Banzai, and I was like, oh, shit. I think I'm going to make some popcorn. I've never made popcorn before, but I think I've seen my parents do it. I'm going to do it. And so I poured some oil into like a pan. I just threw a bunch of popcorn in there, went back to watching my movie, just forgot all about it.
Oh my God.
It starts burning. I take it, and I'm just like, oh, you need to put water on this. Obviously, I need to just take the tap and turn it on full blast and do that. How I didn't like scald my face off, I have no clue. But it exploded.
Yeah.
And oil and popcorn went everywhere.
Cold tap water and hot oil.
Cold tap water onto hot oil burning popcorn. My mom was gone maybe 45 minutes. And came home and was just like, why?
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So that was I'd say not my finest moment, but I kind of think it was my finest moment as a kid. That's the most kid thing I think I've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I've always suspected that part of my dislike of Buckaroo Banzai, beyond all the stuff I just said, is the circumstances I saw it. I didn't see it in the theaters. My mom, I was home with the flu. I had like 102-degree fever. My mom just picked up 2 movies. She's like, oh, you'll like this weird thing. And then she also got me Oh Dad, Poor Dad, Mama's Hung You in the Closet, and I'm Feeling Sad from 1967, starring Jonathan Winters.
What the fuck? I've never heard of this.
Okay, really weird comedy. So I watched these 2 movies with my brains boiling, and had very weird reactions. Obviously, it was like watching them on mushrooms. So that might be why I don't like it, but I don't think it is, because I've given it several views as an adult, and it still doesn't grab me. Anyway,
Okay.
there's our meandering corner. I love those. I do kind of want to get a picture of you, like some pictures of you as a kid, so I can cut your head out and like have you in a little stickman body doing popcorn.
I will send you some photos of me with the bowl cut.
We'll see. We'll see how ambitious I feel this week. I want to do crude South Park level animation. Okay, so back into it. So Gorm just popped up. We were laughing about how they were scrambling, and he picks up the entire thing like a toy in a bathtub and says, "I come for the stone. You will tell Gorm where it is hidden now." He looks amazing. Every panel, those thick, chunky lines with striations that just make everything look textured and creepy and cool. They're all on the deck looking up at it. "This is insane. It can't be happening." "Brad, get Miss Eden inside," says Ulysses. She says, "Look, Jack, if Godzilla there wants to crack this ship open, being inside isn't going to help." Again, so far my favorite character in this book.
Absolutely.
Like, I love the idea of like, get inside the cabin and lock the door. Like, we're all gonna die.
Yep.
This is not gonna do shit. And then Gorm says, "Bah, humans fear Gorm. They're too frightened to talk." And he just drops the ship down. And he says, "Gorm will find stone without humans." And the strain has tore the hole open even more than the elephant gun going through and henchman going through the side did. All of the cases and shipping spill out into the sea, including the case we saw in the opening scene. And they start drifting down. We see from a vantage point under the ocean, this one metal case starts dripping down with oxygen bubbles coming out. And then we cut back to the ship, but we'll get to that in just a minute. Anyhow, right now, back to the action as Ulysses is firing his elephant gun again, just down at the beast. I just love that his response is just to fire like a literal goddamn cannon, like Civil War cannon at things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that last one. Yeah, but how funny is him firing that cannon and the onomatopoeia is action.
I do like taking part of the narration and making it an onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's awesome. Yeah, no, I loved that. Yeah, that first panel too of Gorm just holding the ship in his palm is just so badass.
And just throwing it down when he's not getting what he wants immediately.
Yeah. And so then, next page. So Ulysses is like, "Gorm, hear me. If you want the gem, you'll have to fight me for it." And he comes in. It's like, "Skatok." And Gorm says, "Who?" Ulysses says, "Bloodstone monster. Remember it well. Soon it will be the name of your master." And he just starts bludgeoning the monster with his gun, like with the stock of his gun for the help. Oh my god. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, every time he does something like this, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's the ultimate badass.
Yeah. I love that just sense of like, again, he's lived 10,000 years, so he has, but like just this kind of like, this is all old hat to him.
Nothing is new. He's just like, oh yeah,
phased.
Oh, it's awesome. And I love the narration. Harder and harder, Bloodstone bludgeons the monster down using his incredible rifle like a mace until they fall submerged deep beneath the waves. And so they're totally submerged. And he's like, I think this is a little mistake. It says go to, so it should be got to time this perfect. Use momentum created by Gorm's pulling me down. Maneuver myself into position, which he has just done some kind of cartwheel underwater to where now his legs and arms are all completely stretched out. And he's upside down, and he's just like, and Gorm, of course, has our same reaction. He's like, "What are you?" And then there's a panel at the bottom. It just says, "Kadoom." Yeah.
The action gets weird. Of course, we have underwater physics, so the thing's a little weird, but he's managed to do some kind of Spider-Man like cartwheel underwater, get in position, point his cannon right at Gorm's face, and before as Gorm's saying, "What are you doing?" Yeah. And the gun's so powerful, even like underwater, it causes a tidal wave on the surface.
Oh,
that's hilarious. And there's like a hint of like some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, of like some confusing stuff with black and white art and big action. That third panel was a little bit where I was like, okay, I see Ulysses on there, and okay, that's Gorm's tail. Okay. But it just started to kind of have some storytelling issues here visually, like moments like this, that it's going to get worse for me on the next few pages. So they're like Gorm is settled down to the ocean floor, and he says, "You have great strength, human. Caught me by surprise, but now surprise is gone. Gorm shall win." And Bloodstone's kind of just swimming down, holding his breath because there's air bubbles coming out of his mouth. And Gorm just apparently picks up a giant, like, breaks off part of a mountain under the water and throws it at Bloodstone. Bloodstone punches it as it's flying towards him, all in slow underwater motion, right? This is everything like slowed down, like 3/4 speed. Punches it, shatters it. So not if that's the best you can muster, he thinks, because he's underwater. He says, "I may not be much at projecting my voice underwater, but I can uproot hunks of seabed with the best of them," as he's picking up what looks like to be the size of like a pictures mound. That's a great panel of him straining while he does that. There's like just fish flopping around while he does it, and then he flings it in the last thing and says, "I throw a mean curve." Shrish! As it goes singing through underwater towards Gorm. So they're just like gods right now.
Basically, yeah.
Throwing bits of earth at each other.
Underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, so next page, yeah, you're right. It gets, especially that third panel. It gets kind of confusing. So yeah, Gorm and Ulysses continue to fight. Gorm is still just like, "No more games, human. Rock's no good. Gorm is strong enough to crush you." And so I honestly still don't know what's going on in that third panel.
Yeah.
I still can't. And then, yeah, we're back on the boat. And Brad's like, "He's been down there a long time, even for him." She's like, "But how can any man stay underwater so long?" Brad says, "Sam, Ulysses Bloodstone is no one's any man." A little clunky, but I get it. And then, we're back under the sea, and there's a great panel of, Ulysses kind of starting to be crushed by Gorm. He says, "Ugh, Gorm's grip is unbelievable. If he squeezes all the air out of my lungs, I mean, what would happen? I don't know." But
that's the horrifying thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I get to like the Encanto, like, panic attack. Like, wait, so you can't breathe, but you're trapped underwater? Like, that's...
And you're alive?
And you're
forever?
alive.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's bad. And Gorm's like, "Wait, what is that? I sense it close by. The blood gem!" And so, he sees the case.
I had that same issue with that panel. I think that is supposed to be Gorm's hand slamming down, and that's a knuckle. I think that's like he's under a finger. Like his finger is pinned Ulysses down.
Okay.
I think that scale is accurate, because if you, on the top panel, that tiny little silhouette on the right side is supposed to be Ulysses. So that's about the right scale.
Yeah. No, you're right. That is about the right scale.
So he's fucking huge.
Yeah. No, he's enormous. He held the ship in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that next to the last panel of just that extreme close up on Gorm with his eye as he's like sensing it. And you can tell like there's no pupils, but you can just feel his eyes like shifting like towards the energy of the Bloodstone. Okay, so on the next page, Ulysses senses that he's distracted, so he says, "Now!" while he's distracted, and he punches him hard in the face. "No! Human escapes!" And Ulysses starts rapidly swimming away towards the case. Gotta reach it before Gorm does. Get back up to the surface and try to... And then there's a big cretch. Again, here's something where I wasn't quite sure. Is it Gorm grabbing like where the briefcase was and Ulysses, like just the whole goddamn thing, and pulling it up like one big chunk?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay. That was how I interpreted it, because it looks like you see in the next panel, it says, "Gorm has won. The prize is mine. The human is dead." And he's got his giant, tiny claws, like where they meet the briefcases between them.
The briefcase.
Like the size of a fucking watch battery. So I think that's what happened. Was he just... Like, I think
probably
below where it says Kretch, I think that's Gorm's thumb. Like he's punching. That's a fist. He's punching Ulysses in the back with his fist. See, this is hard. You shouldn't have to do this.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, now I get it. He's punched him in the back as Ulysses was grabbing for the thing. he punched him in the back, grabbed the briefcase up, and then lifted it up and said, I won, I won.
Okay.
Okay, and so Ulysses is reeling from getting rocked in the back. He's like, ugh, not so lucky at all, monster. The damn stone in my chest won't let me die. But if I don't get to the surface, I could end up trapped here. My lungs collapsed. Again, one of the rings of hell.
Yeah, definitely.
And he says, can't follow Gorham. And we see in the background, Gorham's just kind of like marching off underwater with his little prize. He's so happy and satisfied, while in the foreground, Ulysses is rocked and running out of air and probably the wind knocked out of him, to say the least, by getting punched by a Godzilla-sized monster.
Jesus. So yeah, next page, we're back on the boat. Brad says, wait a minute. Yeah, I see something, a disturbance in the water. Sam says, but who? and Brad's like, Bloodstone, he made it. And Bloodstone, breaks through the water, and he's like, hey boss, catch. And he throws him a little life all those.
Life preserver? Rubber ring?
Yeah. And so, but goddamn, I love that fourth panel of him just like scaling the boat with a rope. I was just like, okay, now we're back. I get it. I understand this action.
Grounded.
And it's badass. Yeah.
Grounded action. That second panel, though, where he's breaking the water, you can hear that gasp of air as he.
Yeah, you can.
That's a great fucking panel.
Yeah, that is a great panel. And then, Brad says, I take it from the look on your face that we didn't just win the war. Ulysses like, Gorham got the gem, but at least he won't return to the ship. Brad's like, well, I guess we should be pretty thankful for that. The ship was pretty badly damaged, although they've made temporary repairs. It should get us back, providing you don't attract any other monsters. And Sam is just like, what's going on here? You can tell, like, she's also, probably not easily phased.
No.
But this has phased her. I don't think she's ever seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
And Brad's like, it's a long story, Sam. I have a feeling you wouldn't believe a word of it. Look, don't take this personally, but I think it's best we just part. And then Ulysses says, no, Brad, let her come with us, if she will, to the island. We have a deadly mission ahead of us, and she may be able to help. I love that side profile of him, and his hair is just like this amazing, like 70s hair helmet.
Yes. But I love that he was like the whole time just eyes fixed on the horizon. Like, no.
The island.
She's coming with us. I'll save it for final thoughts. Okay, so epilogue. Another drink for another scrying object.
Back to that.
So Alexel is watching Gorham march off again happily on the seabed floor with his prize. And Alexel says, then there are other forces at work here. But who? And he angrily, does the thing where you smash the thing because you got to take your anger out somewhere. Where could they have obtained the knowledge? Knowledge so well guarded for over 10,000 years. If this were the work of the conspiracy, all in bold, I would know. That's a great panel of him, like, looking at Cthulhu with his hands out towards, like, the viewer, just like it looks like it's a 3D poster. And he says, the conspiracy must be told at once, while a shadow is falling on the strange ruins around him, approaching him. And then a voice from off panel says, the conspiracy already knows, Fright Face. That's why they sent me. I love this weird mix of like gothic Cthulhu, like Lovecraftian horror, and sass talking mercenary.
It's really funny. And so on the next panel, next page, it's just a full splash page of this shit. Again, made me laugh really, really hard. So it's just this guy. He's all in a fancy skin tight suit. He says, and frankly, mister, I don't care who or what gets in my way. Bloodstone or some 40-foot refugee from a Harryhausen film or anybody else. There's nothing that can't be handled by the claws of Killer Shrike. He's got his hand up, fist outraged. And oh God. I didn't expect this goofy of an ending, but I kind of loved it.
Yeah.
So then, at the bottom, it says, more wonderment than ever before as we learn more about the mysterious legend men call Bloodstone. Who or what is the conspiracy? And what is their startling secret? Witness the shattering showdown between Bloodstone and the Killer Shrike, and wait until you see the island. All this plus the mind-maddening menace of Gorham and a special text feature on Bloodstone, his background, powers, and limitations. Be here in Rampaging Hulk #2 for Shadow of the Shrike. So yeah, it just became like Flash Gordon cereal all of a sudden. Like this is 30s serials.
Crazy tonal shift at the very end there.
It's a huge tonal shift. But I gotta say, it was very entertaining.
So this was the first appearance of this character. You've seen him before, yeah? I can't remember like who he is associated with after this, but I've seen him around.
I have seen him around. I couldn't remember either. I should have looked it up. Did you?
I did not, no.
Yeah.
Like I know he gets kind of, how they do the introduce somebody in one book and then like all the sand settles in the ant colony and they end up fighting some other person. But he's associated with some other team or some other superhero that he fights all the time. But this was his first appearance, which I did have to confirm. That was crazy. So before we go into final thoughts here, I just wanted to mention, this is part of final thoughts, but like I was laughing about how Ulysses is looking off the bow at the whatever, and he interrupts him, like best we part wait, Brad,
hold on,
come with us, and he looks all dreamy and like he's, distant and he's inscrutable. You can't figure out what he's thinking. I love that in this 2 years, like this sense of like John Warner was thinking about these guys the entire time. So in John Warner's mind, these guys have had 2 years of adventures together, and we just jumped back in, post cancellation. Like, just because we didn't get to follow them doesn't mean they weren't doing stuff. I love that feeling.
It's
Their
a great
relationship
feeling.
Feels very established and lived in.
Yeah, like they're a duo. They've already had a ton of adventures. Yeah, you're right. We're just dropped into this world.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, so since we saw Ulysses, we get the sense that he's been hunting down pieces of the Starstone or the Bloodstone, we're going to call it, for the entire time. And this is just part of his gig. And somehow he picked up Brad Carter. You can see why. They felt a connection at the end of the last adventure that we're on. But obviously they have a rapport. There's a Holmes Watson kind of vibe, like but comedy with a comedy relief kind of element too. I love the vibe to it. So what'd you make of this new direction?
I loved it. Yeah, Marvel, the Marvel Present stuff was fine. It was fun. It was a fun intro. I liked his backstory. That was cool. We got like some of his backstory, which I loved. But this is a light years jump ahead of just like how cool it is. The art, I'm never going to complain about a Filipino artist, even though, I know that we ran into some limitations with black and white, which I think is interesting. It made me think about the art style. And the art style that was the comics with a K style, and how, but a lot of Filipino comics were black and white too. So I don't
think it's a lack of color.
I don't think it's a lack of
barrier. Honestly,
what do you think it was?
I think it was the nature of this story in particular. This big, glossy Hollywood big budget like version, like they're saying Harryhausen or whatever, like. I think that was the limitation. I think that was just not a good fit for what these guys excel at.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Like you were saying, I'm just looking right now at that page where Ulysses is climbing up the bow of the ship on that rope, after surfacing. Like that's spy, horror, romance, intrigue, gothic, whatever. Like all that stuff works really well for them. When it's just two big, strong things punching each other out, just it between black and white and the strengths of a Filipino art set, it just wasn't a good fit.
No. Yeah. But that was really just like, I don't know, that was maybe a couple pages worth of panels. Yeah, but it didn't detract from the story. It was confusing, but I think the art was so high level that I didn't care as much. Like in a normal, style of comic, I would have just been like, oh, this is too confusing. This ruins it for me. But for this, I was just like, I don't give a fuck. This is amazing.
Yeah. And for, all the stuff with like Aluxel, he looks fucking amazing. Everything that happens on the boat looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, it was just a couple muddy scenes there where, underwater action scenes are hard to film. They're hard to edit. They're hard to they're just hard to do. So, a Kirby could pull it off or something like that, but that's big, loud, crazy, bright action. And this is not that. So it's not a good fit. But I loved it. I thought it was a great shift for the character. And like I said, I love just jumping forward to these guys' chronology. We don't need to see every minute, every shared cup of coffee or whatever. Like, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Just jump right in.
And obviously, we we're gushing immediately over Samantha Eden. I love her already.
She's great.
Yeah. So after next issue, Rampaging Hulk 2, our following Shadow Show will just be you and me reading her column. She has a 3-page text piece that's just written from her voice, talking about her meeting up with Brad and Ulysses and what her impressions are of these two guys.
Sweet.
So that'll just be that episode, and then we can do like a library, Tales from the Library or something to kind of pad it out a little bit. But so that'll be just one episode, and then we'll do the comics part of that issue on a following week.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm excited to have her in this. I hope she hangs around a bit. I haven't spoiled myself on this stuff. I do know one of the big players besides Alexel. And I know I told you because I was like, when I was making PDFs of this, I was like, oh my God, this character's in here. And it's a character we've met before in BAM.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very shocked because I was in the impression that this character never appeared anywhere ever again. So when I saw him, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
John Warner pulled this guy out. I was really shocked.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that character come back. I'm just excited for this whole thing. I love this vibe. I love what you're saying. Like, this is like Flash Gordon meets Doc Savage meets Conan meets fucking whatever. I mean, it's just craziness.
That's great.
But I'm here for it. I don't think there's ever any letters columns in Rampaging Hulk, so I don't think we're ever to get reader feedback.
Okay.
I can confirm that, but I don't think there was.
Okay.
So yeah, the big thumbs up for me. You and I made the best of the rushed Sonny Trinidad work and the rushed condensed John Warner writing from last time.
Yeah.
So nobody's best day.
No.
But this is awesome.
Yeah, this set a real high bar for me. So I was just like, yes, I want more of this.
Yeah. A note on the rest of this season of the Shadow Show. I initially had Grunwald's Hunt for the Bloodstone or something in here. I decided to pull back from that. So we asked for people's feedback. And we got a lot. We appreciate that. Some people sent some emails in. A lot of people posted on our Discord. And that's exactly what we were looking for. So we thank you for that. Some people would like a little more of the us factor of the bonus show. So instead of cramming in some late 80s Cap, which is fucking amazing, Cap and Diamondback together doing crazy stuff, I pulled that out. I'm going to decompress this schedule a little bit over the season and slot in some just you and me talking about a watch-along. We're resuming the watch-alongs next week. Talking about a watch-along, stuff that happened in the library, books, movies, music, Kickstarter catch-up. We have some stuff we never reviewed that we backed on Kickstarter. So less intensive Shadow Show content and a few bonus episodes sprinkled in throughout.
I think that's a great call.
So I hear what you said, folks, and I appreciate it. And we are here making this for you. So thank you for the feedback. We are listening to you and we are adjusting our schedule and our output thusly. Yeah.
I mean, I really liked that feedback. I thought it was really cool. And it was nice. I liked that people liked, our little, Tales from the Library and Kickstarter catch-up and the stuff that you and I like and the personal touches. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's nice,
Yeah.
And we were talking before we started recording, but I think I'm going to include a link, much like I did during the Bronze Age Buffet. I think I'm going to stick a PDF in this for the Shadow Show to the Ulysses Bloodstone podcast posts on Patreon. So if you use that super secret link, you've added to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get the show, the secret show, just know that when you get that email that says, hey, there's a new one available, or it pops up in your feed, you can go to Patreon and get the PDF of the thing if you really prefer to listen. We understand. We're keeping the training wheels on for season 6.
Yep.
Season 7 will be a different story. But season 6, we're going to support the folks who just want to listen and provide the PDF to them as we go along.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I'll go backdate. I'll go into the backlog and add PDFs from the ones you've already done. And then from here on out, this one and all future ones will have it in.
That's cool.
Yes. So speaking of watch-alongs, we are watching, for our triumphant return, we are watching, so Jacob, we had talked about doing the Dungeons of Hera.
Yeah.
Because of the Pat Boyette film. I feel like that window passed for me.
Okay.
So It's on YouTube. I recommend everyone check it out. It's very slow, very small budget, moody little, again, Dollar General version of like a Corman Poe film. So I'd check it out. But I wanted to kind of jump into, I want a revolving door of Creature Commandos themed stuff. So I'm starting with a Velcro pairing. Our first Velcro pairing is called The Death Master. It's from 1972. And it stars Robert Quarry, who played Count Yorga in 2 very good fucking movies. He also played the villain in Sugar Hill, or what was that zombie movie we watched? It was a voodoo movie. Sugar Hill?
I think it was Sugar Hill. Yeah.
He was the villain in that one, like the pimpy, weird villain.
That's awesome.
But in this one, there's a commune of hippie, early 70s hippie kids that live in like an abandoned beach house, and a coffin washes up on the shore, and they immediately start worshiping this dude like some Manson-y leader, and he is a vampire. So
awesome.
You get the weird like AIP beach movie reject, like bad, like Stan Lee, like I'm a young hip person and I say hippie things. A whole cast of those people hanging around a vampire who's like a cult leader.
Yeah.
Come on. So that will be the movie we talk about in the next Shadow Show.
Cool. Yeah, that'll
I'm
be
excited
fun
to do. It'll be a capsule review again. When we do have a full episode of like Bloodstone stuff to talk about, we'll just do like a 5-minute movie review, but we will get back to doing those. And like I said, we'll rotate in some just kind of bonus shadow shows.
Sweet. No, it sounds perfect to me. I like uncompressed.
Yeah, me too. So, if you are the kind of person that thinks that The Death Master sounds like an amazing fucking movie, which I've seen like the first half of it, and it's super entertaining, you can go to our Discord page. If you're one of those people that doesn't do that yet, our watch-alongs are usually on Sunday nights around 7 o'clock Pacific time. We hang out. You've heard this whole spiel before. We watch a movie together. Sometimes we turn our mics off and make a comment, laugh, chat a little bit. Some people leave their camera off. Some people turn them on. Some people leave their mic off the whole time.
Whatever's fine by us.
Whatever's clever, man. We take all kinds.
Yeah, so anyone that hasn't already joined our watch-alongs before, and I know this is old hat, I know we've said this a bunch, but it's so much fun.
Yeah. And
the people that are on there, I mean, obviously, they're people that support the show. They're all patrons just like you. So if you haven't done the watch-along, no pressure, but kind of pressure, because it's super fun, and we would love to see as many people there as possible.
Yes. And I've missed doing it. It became kind of a weekly thing for us for a long time, and it's been months since we've done one, and I've really missed it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that group of folks again. It was a nice way to end the weekend and kind of like downshift and like get ready to start my business week, like with a nice night of hanging out with the family. I'm making that up. That is a word. So
TM.
The family is happening. Hanging out with the family and just watching an absurd movie and laughing and just having a good time, and then you go watch John Oliver and you go to bed. It was nice. Yep. That's what I did anyway.
That's exactly what I do too. Yeah.
So I'm excited to get back into the watch-alongs, and again, we'll just start rotating through. I think I'll do a Velcro, and then a Warren movie, and then a Lucky movie, and then we'll watch something World War II-y to commemorate Shreve, or something about a sociopath. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had a great time.
Yeah, no. So this was great. I'm glad this is great. I'm glad we're going through these Rampaging Hulk stories. This is going to be really, really fun. So hope all of y'all liked this episode and of the Shadow Show. And from us to you, hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Oh, that was the bonus show. If you did not catch that,
it was.
Hands around it.